Hello everyone, welcome back to Coffee and K. I am Kay, and in today's video I am going to be going over my top 10 favorite pods from Nespresso for the Vertuo line. I thought this was a good video to do right now. I know a lot of people are getting the new machines, and you know it can be kind of tricky trying to figure out what pods you want to try, which ones are good, which ones aren't. So I have compiled a list of my top 10 favorite pods. I try to stick to all of the pods that are permanent, not the ones that are seasonal, so that way you know you can try these out at your leisure. You don't have to feel like you have to get them now. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. But before we get started, please make sure you like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And when you do subscribe, please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you are notified whenever I upload a video. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the one pod that is seasonal. However, it is a favorite of mine, and I think that a lot of people would like this one, and that one is the pumpkin spice cake. Any that I don't have, I will put a picture on the screen. There's just one I believe that I don't have, but the pumpkin spice cake is a seasonal pod, and to me it tastes just like pumpkin spice cake. It does have a spice to it, hence the name pumpkin spice cake. However, I think a lot of people get confused and think that it's just going to be a pumpkin pod, and it's not just that. It's a pumpkin spice cake pod. But I like that because a lot of the creamers, the pumpkin creamers that they come out with are a little sweeter. So I think that it offsets the spice really nicely. So when you drink it, you don't get as much of the spice. It tones it down. Also, adding milk does help tone this down. So I think this one is a fun one. If you like pumpkin, even if you're not a huge pumpkin fan, I feel like you could still enjoy that one to some extent. Okay, my second favorite pod, and these are in no particular order, but the next one is Odio. First of all, can we get into the color? It is a gorgeous color. I'm not gonna hold you. The color is why I bought the pod, but it's not why I repurchased it. This is actually really good. Odio is an intensity of 7, so it is pretty up there. For me, that's like a medium roast, but it's really nice. It's really bold and lively, but when you add milk to it, it makes it really, really smooth. It is a really nice cup of coffee. This is actually one that I could drink just adding milk to it, and even black, it's not bad if you like black coffee. I particularly like to add creamers, or I'll add milk and syrups to my coffee, but this one, even with just milk, it mellows it out really nicely. And I think that a lot of people, especially people who are just starting out in the Nespresso world, I know it can be a bit of a change if you come from if you're not used to drinking like espressos or more intense coffees. I think this one would be really nice, a nice segue for you. Okay, and the next pod that is going to be on my list is Stormio. Now, Stormio is a little bit more intense. It is an intensity of 8. It is really bold. It has a really nice roastiness to it. I like Stormio first thing in the morning because it's a more intense pod. It gets me going for the day. Also, this one, it stands up to syrups and creamers because it is a bit more intense. I really, really like the Stormio one. I think that a lot of people will enjoy this one as well if you like the more bold, darker roast. And even though this one is only a level 8, I believe it goes up to 11 for Vertuo, or maybe even 13. Even though it's only an 8, for me, this is still, maybe it's because of the boldness of the flavor, this one is still a little bit more intense, and I like that one. Okay, and the next one is also a coffee one. This one is the half calf. Now, this one is so good. It is an intensity of 5, so it's really, really mellow. And once you add milk, it just becomes really nice and creamy. This is a really, really pleasant cup of coffee to drink. This one I like, and like if it's a midday cup of coffee, or if I just want some coffee even in the evenings, but I don't necessarily need that caffeine, this one is a really nice substitute. And it's half calf. Oh, also I forgot to mention the pumpkin spice cake is also a half calf. But this one is a half calf and it is so good, so creamy, really smooth. Just an honorable mention, the decaf coffee pod Nespresso used to have. They don't have it anymore, but that one, if you're familiar with that pod, this one is similar to that for me. It's very smooth, very creamy, very pleasant cup of coffee. And the last coffee pod that I have, this one is the Bianco Forte. It doesn't give an intensity level. This one is part of the Barista Creations line. So it's supposed to pair really, really well with milk. And for a long time, I did not even purchase this coffee. I just purchased this recently and I am in love with this pod. I didn't purchase it for a long time just because I was intimidated with the intensity of it. I heard that it was really intense. The roastiness was very high. So I like that though. I'm finding that I like the coffee pods, especially since I like to get a little creative and add creamers and milks. This coffee pod will stand up to adding different creamers or different milks because it is so intense and the roastiness is so high. Once you add that to it, it still has that coffee taste because I don't really, all the time, I don't really want just like a sweet coffee. I want a cup of coffee, but I want it to have some flavor to it. So this one is really, really good for that. However, if you are getting a new machine, this one does come in the sample pack. And also when you place your first order, they usually offer this one as a free sample with the Bianco Forte. So definitely try those before you buy a whole sleeve because sometimes Espresso takes returns, sometimes they don't. And you don't want to be stuck with the whole sleeve, especially if one that's intense that you don't really like. But this is definitely one of the top ones for me. And again, it took me over a year to try this one out, but I'm so glad I did. And this is definitely one that I will keep on hand. Okay, the next one, that's all the coffee ones that I have. This one is a Lungo pod, so it will yield you 5 ounces of coffee. This one is Costa Rica, also a gorgeous color, but this one is an intensity of 7. It's described as full-bodied but mellow. It's a malty sweet cereal note. And when I first tried this one, I would only usually drink it with milk and the Monin spiced brown sugar syrup. And it's really, really good like that. But recently I had it because it was in the advent calendar box. And I forget how I had it, but it wasn't with, I normally just pair spicy syrups with this. I'll insert the reel from Instagram here on the screen so you can look at it. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram because I do tons more coffee content there. I'm posting reels daily through the month of December, well, up through the 24th, 25th, because I have the advent calendar, and so I'm posting a daily reel. So that has actually been a lot of fun. Comment below if you've got the advent calendar for either the virtual or the original line, and let me know how you're liking it. But so I recently tried this with something different, and I really, really, really like this pod. I hadn't had it for a while, and I think I had kind of, started sleeping on it, but this is definitely one of my favorites, and I'm glad I tried it recently so that I wouldn't leave it out of this video. Also, the fact that it's a Lungo, to me, is like a perfect size cup of coffee. It's not quite a latte because, an espresso is 1 ounce, double is 2 ounces. This is 5, so it's not quite a full cup of coffee, but when you just maybe want something to warm you up in the evenings, or even throughout these winter months, if it's cold where you are, it's not cold where I am, but if it's cold where you are and you just need something to warm you up, the Lungo sizes are really, really nice sizes. So this is definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so that was the only Lungo that I have. Now to the double espressos. This is the double espresso Chiaro pod. There are a couple double espressos, this one and the Scuro. The Scuro I like. It's comparable to this, but the Chiaro is just a little bit more smooth, and it's really a favorite of mine for lattes. I know a lot of people like the Bianco Leggero, and I like that as well. However, sometimes I just want something a little more intense. I want the flavor to stand up against the syrups that I use, and this one definitely does that. It is an intensity of 6. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but it is really, really, really nice. It's an intense cup. It's an intense pot, but it is very, very balanced, which I think is what kind of sets this one apart from the Scuro pod. I'm not sure which one is in the sample pack, but definitely give them a try if you can. I do have the Scuro here so you can see what that looks like. And again, that one's just a little bit more intense. I like that the Chiaro is a little bit more balanced. However, again, they are both really, really, really delicious. All right, now on to the espresso pods. The new pods that Nespresso has released, not the holiday ones, the permanent ones, they released 4. Well, Il Cafe they released last year for the holidays, but they brought this one back this year, and it is going to be permanent. They released a Lungo pod called Indonesia, which is good, but my favorites from that release are the Tacanto, which is this one here. First of all, the color is stunning. I love this color. It is an intensity of 5, and it is a juicy coffee, and it has candied and winey notes. When I read this on Nespresso, it said something about pineapple, which is really what made me want to try it. I didn't get much of the pineapple, but this pod is just, I've had it with just regular French vanilla. I've had it with salted caramel. I've had it with tons of syrups, and it is so good. I mean, honestly, I don't really feel like you can go wrong with either of these 2 pods. Very smooth, very mild. Well, not very mild. It is mild though in flavor, so definitely temper back on the milks. But this is so good. I really think that anyone who tries these would like these. I know that they've had it recently in the advent calendar, but they obviously aren't including these in the sample boxes just yet. But if you get a chance to try this pod or get a chance to order it, do it. You will not regret it. I guarantee you, it is so good. And the other new pod they came out with is called Odio, and this color is also very stunning. It's like a coppery color. Beautiful pod. And this one is also an espresso pod. This is an intensity of 6, so it's just one step up from the Tacanto. Warm cereal and caramel notes, and the caramel notes is what got me excited when I first saw it. And this pod is so good. Obviously, I feel like most people like caramels or vanillas, and if you like those syrups or those creamers, it's definitely gonna go really well with this, or even just with milk as a cappuccino. This is so good, so smooth. Even though it's a 6, it's still pretty mild, very low in bitterness, and it's light bodied, but it is so good. Even especially with the salted caramel syrup from Monin, definitely recommend this. Now this one and the Tacanto, if you don't get anything else from what I've listed today, which you should, get those 2. They are so good. And with the espresso pods, I feel like they're a little more forgiving, because even if you don't, like if you're not in love with it, I feel like you can always just like add a shot of espresso to a half cup of coffee or a cup of coffee, you know, give yourself a little extra kick, and that way you can, if you don't like the flavor or if it's too intense, maybe add it to like a lighter intensity coffee pod, and then, you know, add some milk to it, your syrups, creamers, whatever, and it'll help balance out the intensity, but it'll also help you get through the sleeve. So I don't know, but I love this pod. Definitely recommend. And the last pod that I have, I'm completely out of this pod, but it is the Mexico pod. It is an intensity of 7. It is also a coffee pod, and honestly, it took me a while to try that one as well, and a subscriber actually recommended that. She said that she liked it with the silk regular vanilla syrup or vanilla creamer, and I love that combination. It is so good with the creamer, but I also find that because the Mexico pod has a little bit of spiciness to it, it has spice notes is what it is. Spice notes and a rich, thick texture. Because it has those spice notes, I feel like it pairs really well with like the pumpkin spice creamers that are out. I find I like that one with the spice brown sugar syrup with my pumpkin spice syrup. And Pink House Alchemy has a roasted butternut pumpkin spice. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but it has butternut and pumpkin spice, and it's one of their syrups they have, and it pairs really well with that one. Any like spicy syrups, or even I've had people pair it with like the Mexican dark chocolate. I love that pod. I only regret that it took me so long to try it, but I really enjoyed that one. And again, if you like your cups of coffee a little more simple, that one also pairs really well with some milk, some French vanilla syrup, or just some vanilla creamer. It is definitely one of my favorite pods. Definitely had to be in my top 10 today. Thank you so much for watching. If I missed anything, I'm sorry. If you have any that you think I should have said, let me know in the comments. We can chat about it below. If you want to see a video where I maybe do my favorite syrup and pod combinations, let me know that as well in the comments below. I will get that up if you know, if you want to see it. I just thought this would be a lot of fun for the holidays. You know, people are buying these machines and it can be a lot. And yeah, you get a starter kit, but it's only what, 14 pods. So if you have a cup of coffee a day, that's not even gonna last you 2 weeks. It's not, you know, It's not very long. So I wanted to make sure that you had some references if you were out shopping right now for Nespresso pods. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative for you. Please make sure you like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And when you do subscribe, please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you are notified whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.